You're listening to Until They Sleep, a podcast where two parents finally get to sit down and discuss all the different things that run through their heads every day because their four kids are finally asleep. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Until They Sleep. This is Chantel with my husband, as always.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Daniel, for those who don't know, if this is your first time listening, thank you for joining us. I wanted to touch base real quick on the fact that we weren't 100% happy with our last episode. So we might touch on that subject about bullying a little bit more today.
Yeah, it was because we kind of went off track and then came back and we bounced around with it because it's a weird subject. We really don't know how to handle it or how to talk about it, or it's just, we're venting.
Yeah. And I think just in general, bullying, we're not coming from a generation of where people talked about bullying. It's just, you just dealt with it. Mm-hmm. But now that we have kids who have experienced it at some point.
And I think part of it is probably during our era, we didn't have social media or all the coverage that we do now. Everything is so easily to access and look up. We have a computer pretty much in our hands, right, and a newspaper on our hands with cell phones and everything. So then we're more exposed to stuff that we were back then. So
which is also a problem.
Right. Yeah, most definitely.
Because of cyberbullying.
Right. Cyberbullying is a big thing now. And, the stats weren't there before. We never heard about, people committing suicide or, doing dumb stuff because they kept them being victims. The amount of bullying is usually was one person or two at school. Well, now with social media and everything, you have
multiple.
The whole freaking school plus other schools and friends of people from school and family members or, whatever.
Yeah. And we looked up statistics, but honestly, anyone can go look up statistics online. Again, part of having the internet and being in this technology area where you're learning stuff is at your hand. I am not going to call it knowledge because I don't know that it's all factual or true, but it's at your fingertips.
Yeah, but as always, right, you got it turns into this big old research thing, right? If you want to really learn about something, you look one thing up, and it's kind of like everything going on nowadays. Everybody writes articles depending on what they're doing, right?
Yeah, what their opinion on it is.
Right.
Or
a lot of this shit is just clickbait,
Yeah.
Whatever fits to your agenda, or that was awesome, that works. That was perfect. This one person said this, but you're not following up on more stuff. Don't just do one thing. Keep on.
Get both sides of the story.
Educate yourself more. Yeah. Yeah. There's always different points of views, right?
Yeah.
There's always different ways of doing it, whatever you want to call it. But so yeah, I think that's one of my things. I always say, well, did you do more research, or did you just watch one YouTube video and that was enough info for you that you're, that's your new Bible. That's
we're basing all our
that's your commandment.
And
now.
We're guilty of that. And I think we've talked about this before. I think everyone is guilty of, I read this one article or even two articles, but they just fit your bias. Mm-hmm. And then you just run with that.
Yeah, not to mention that the freaking phones, remember that you read that one thing, so they're just going to keep on feeding you that ad or that one point of view of everything because they kind of,
I know,
they're learning, right? They're learning off what you do,
It's so scary.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's scary.
So
I don't know exactly what more we can say other than, what we were trying to say with the whole bullying thing is we were asking for people's opinions on how to handle bullying, what your experience, especially with your kids, how have you handled bullying with your kids, if your kids have even experienced bullying at this point?
I think everybody experiences bullying in any shape or manner.
I think it's definitely I think it's more prevalent in the junior high, entering into high school, the later part of high school. I did not experience any type of bullying in high school. But I did experience it in junior high. I know you said you've experienced it your whole life, but
it was different. So, and I said it before. I really didn't care for bullying. I was around sometimes when people try to bully other people, and I always stepped in and defended people.
Mm-hmm. Which is something you try to teach the boys,
right? Yeah, and because I think that I had some experiences of some you can call them bullying nowadays, mocking or making fun of you. That's a form of bullying.
Which is back to the whole words that hurt type of
right,
thing.
yeah. And I remember, like I said, like I can give you plenty of examples, I got made of for, I guess living in TJ or, being Mexican or Hispanic or for having an accent in the beginning of my life or mispronouncing stuff to this day. Like,
to this day.
Yeah.
I bully him.
Yeah. Some people will laugh and, make fun of it. I do it too.
Yeah.
I turn it around. It's like, what did you just say? Like,
yeah, he bullies me with my Spanish.
Right. And some people can take it as bullying or, just a little, poking fun or having fun.
It's
right. To me, term? I like to joke and talk shit and make jokes and everything, and then you tell me you're bullying. I was like, how the hell am I being a bully?
Criticism.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not a bully. You even tell me that sometimes. I was like, you're bullying the kids. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just having fun with them. I'm joking with them. So it's all kind of like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, kind of like that. Mm-hmm. Bullying is in the eye of the beholder.
I guess the listener.
Yeah, or the listener. So yeah, so everybody's experiencing it in one way, right? And everybody has different stuff, like everybody thinks, oh, you have a kid, I have a kid, it's everything, but we don't know how different those kids are, right?
And the parenting styles in general.
Right. And the background.
Yeah.
Like what kind of background did that person have and what kind of parent does that make them compared to you? Like we always say, you and me were raised different, so we handle things differently. And so your way of parenting might not, in the beginning, was like very different than mine. So sometimes we will have discussions or arguments about like, no, that's not how you should handle it.
I think mine was too soft for you at the beginning.
Oh, definitely.
And now as they've gotten older, I think I'm a little harder on them than I used to be, but you still don't think I'm hard enough. Yet in other moments, you're super soft on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of flipped a little.
Right?
Yeah. Good cop, bad cop at different times of the day. In different situations.
But we always say it's different. I handle it different when it comes to the boys and the girls. So you're tougher around the girls and you're
you were
softer
telling
with the
me
boys
that today.
Yeah.
You were pointing out how I'm very jumpy with the girls, especially our 7-year-old, and how I'm very direct with her. And to you, it comes across as I'm being mean. Whereas with the boys, I let them get away with things. But I've told you many times, I don't even notice. Like you've told me if the boys talk to me a certain way, that it bothers you when they talk to me that way. But I don't even notice. Mm-hmm. Yet if you did it, I would totally notice. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what part of psychology that is, where it's just a mother's love for her child. I mean, not to say I don't love my daughter. I do. But again, like you're hard on the boys and you're not hard on the girls. And vice versa. I'm hard on the girls and not as hard on the boys.
Yeah, I mean, I try to be... The girls are totally completely different. I don't care what anybody says about, we're the same. No, you're not. They're totally completely different. So, let's say for example for the sports, the boys sometimes make mistakes and I give them a look and I tell them, what were you thinking? What was wrong with you? Mm-hmm. Like, that was a bonehead move. And our daughter just proved it. She did a bonehead move and I let her know about it and she started crying. And she was like, and I was like, and I wasn't even harsh. It was just really quick. I was like, what were you thinking? Why would you do that? Like, and I was like, I get that you get confused in positions, but that was not a smart move.
To bring context to what he's saying, we just had our final sports games. With
3 championships and 3 losses.
Yes. And of course, our 7-year-old's team took it the hardest, I think, because they were in second place. They were playing against the first place team. And we just couldn't beat them. There was a bunch of things that went wrong, period, with that day because of just timing of things.
Yeah, so but bottom line was it was like a kick, and she was playing defense, and she was playing goalie earlier in the game, but, she got subbed out to play a defender, and the ball came through from a corner kick, and her reaction was to grab it with her hands. And so it became a penalty kick. And so then I was like, what were you doing? Mm-hmm. But then I was like, well, you did play goalie earlier, so I can see where the confusion came. It was just a reaction. The ball came close to her face, and she put her hand up, right? So the other team scored, and that was a mistake. And so she felt bad. She felt bad because it was a 1-0 game, and that made it a 2-0 game, so she felt bad about it. But the other team kept on scoring, so it didn't matter.
They scored 2 more times.
Yeah, within the last 5-10 minutes, they scored 2 more games, and that was that. So we lost. But she took it to heart. She took it bad.
Taking it back to the whole bullying. So in this group, right, I think one of the boys said something about it's her fault we lost. And that's one of those things where it wasn't really her fault. It was an accident. She didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
And that's the type of stuff that comes across as bullying. And these are 7-year-olds, right? So these 7, 8, and 9-year-olds. And at some point you're like, do they understand that could be classified as bullying, is to blame
but that's just
your teammates?
Yeah, exactly. But it's an easy scapegoat, right? Because, I mean, you were already losing.
Yeah, it's true. We were already losing. But it does. They become a scapegoat because now you have someone to blame it on. But the bullying...
Comments are made, as how you get over it and what happens. And I had a conversation with her afterwards, and I told her, I don't want to get it to you. Mistakes happen. It is what it is. We learn from our mistakes and we keep on going, get over it. I love you. I'm proud of you. And that's that.
Yeah. But in the sense of bullying, where other kids could make fun of a child for that. So these are kids she's probably never going to see again. Mm-hmm. But I think if this had taken place in like a school setting, there's going to be kids who could constantly taunt her for that mistake. Right. And then that becomes bullying in the school setting. Yeah. And that could have put her off from wanting to play sports.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that's kind of like, it also falls on, what your background is and how you are, right? Because like, that's another thing I've noticed. Like let's say, for example, with my football team, like there's things that happen and things that there was some bullying going on the field at times where people,
told me.
It's pulling a flag, and there's guys running out their elbows and, knocking the wind out of other ones and blocking it and doing everything. And I was so upset that I was like, man, like kids are not how they were when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Like me as a kid, and that would have been happening and I was in the field, I would have been knocking fools on their back. I would have been, elbowing them and tripping them, and I would have been tackling them because I got mad. I was like, okay, that's why you don't play? Like, you want to play jungle ball? We'll play jungle ball. Yeah. Like, I have no problem with that. I played on the streets, so I have no problem with it. Like I said, I mean, I'm not saying I won every fight. I got my ass kicked a lot of times, but it was more of the, okay, you want to play like that? I can play like that too.
Yeah, letting yourself be taken advantage.
Yeah, I matched the energy. So then I think that was a reason probably why I didn't get bullied. Yeah. Because they were like, you know what, this guy doesn't give a damn that we're going to jump him. Doesn't care. Like, he's just going to stand up because his core or his values are that strong that he's willing to take an ass whooping for it.
Yeah. And we see that in movies, right? Who's the one getting bullied? The kid who does nothing, who doesn't fight back. That's the kid who gets bullied. Yeah. Versus the kid who earns respect, right? Because they punched back. Yeah. So I know that that's in the movies, and it might not be reality for a lot of people.
And sometimes it takes one of those kids that stand up and defend them, right?
Yeah.
And to let people know it's not cool. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, but I don't know that really stops the stigma or the bullying. It just happens more discreetly.
It's the peer pressure.
It happens more discreetly.
Everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be welcome. Everybody wants to have friends. Everybody wants to, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to be liked.
Yeah. And the thing is, as we get older, right? So a lot of it, I feel still like most of it happens in junior high. I am aware now that a lot of it is happening younger and younger. But as you transition, out of high school and into the real world, in the adult world, you still have your adult bullies, right?
Oh, no, for sure. It happens.
They just go into the work field, workplace. And
and then they become supervisors or managers or whatever not. And,
screw it.
They become,
you're done.
They're discriminate against you for whatever reason, Yeah. He doesn't have a bachelor's, or, he went to San Diego State instead of Berkeley, or you know what I mean, like a better education, a blue collar college or something.
It seems petty,
right?
I mean, it was probably all bullies. I think their reasons are petty, but it's just that much worse when it's an adult.
Yeah, I think as parents, we just kind of, I mean, it's part of our jobs to be protective of our kids, right? So we don't want them to get bullied or become victims. But it's something that happens, and at the same time, it's something that molds you and shapes you into the person that you're going to grow up to be. You're either going to be very sensitive, or you're going to be, you're going to have a roughneck. You're going to be thick skin, thick skin or be sensitive.
But definitely, the world is full of more soft people. Well, because everyone is told to not
they're
fight.
Special. They're told that they're special and they matter, and that here's a trophy.
Yeah, for everything
you do, you tried, and let's go out there and have fun. When No, you have to learn something about losing. That's the beauty about when you learn to lose, you know?
And this month being men's mental health. I know we talked about men's mental health last year, and it being that time of year again for men, right? Because men are usually associated with being bullies, right? But I think more and more women, especially with the whole cyber stuff, are bullies because women tend to be passive aggressive,
Yeah.
compared to men. But I feel that more men, because of this whole softer society that we're in, have also become very passive aggressive in their bullying.
It is mental awareness month for men. And like we said before, it's like men go through a lot of shit. They're not allowed to show their emotions. They're not talk about their feelings. They're supposed to keep it all inside because if they show any type of weakness, then they're not real men, right? But then they're talking about like, oh, men should be able to say all this stuff and be like free and, you know, like cater to them and look out for them because they're under all this pressure. But then there's also being put down by males and females and by society because you never know what kind of group is going to be attacking them for saying, well, he's weak. He's not a real man. You know, doesn't have any balls. You know, like what's the usual thing, you know, like they tell any guys, you know, it's like, oh, what's the matter? You forgot your balls? Your wife's got your balls? You know, oh, you cut them off? You know, that's automatically one of those comments that gets brought up, right? Like they
The demasculization of a man.
right. That's the first thing you attack, right? It's that like you automatically go to like you're not a man anymore because your boss.
Neutered.
Yeah, you've been neutered, right? Yeah, exactly. So, but then at the same time, when you're a man that you know you're very open, you talk about your feelings and you wear your heart in your sleeves, other men make fun of it and you get bullied.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes even by women.
Yeah, and so is bullying a form of mental?
It could be. I mean, I would say bullying is part of mental health. You know, we understand just from our experience and different readings that we've done that a lot of bullies were bullied.
Abused, right?
Yeah,
they were mentally abused or physically abused or anything.
Exactly.
So it's a cycle that they continue to do.
They
right?
perpetuate this cycle of abuse, of mental health abuse, you know, throughout their lives. And a lot of people, I don't think that they're necessarily aware because they might have never been physically abused, but they were mentally abused in one way or another. And it was just such a passive aggressive abuse that it just translates into more passive aggressive abuse as the adults with other people. And then that just, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's like, I know bullying is bad, but just using your words to hurt somebody because you can versus hitting them, you know, or punching them with, you know, to show them that you're tough. I don't know how to phrase it. I have this thought in my head and I don't know how to put it
So
into
you
words.
think that maybe more like a psychological abuse goes longer down the road than a physical abuse?
For sure. I think for sure.
so
I mean,
that's
I
what
think
you're
it's been
trying to conclude,
proven.
right? Yeah,
I think
so-
it's been proven time after time. If you read different case studies out there, psychological abuse can be with you for years, especially because most people, especially men, never get treated for that emotional abuse.
I think could it be more like a generation thing? You know how everybody's always kind of trying to separate everything between Gen X and you know
Gen Z,
boomers and Gen Z and
millennials.
everything, right? Like what kind of toughness you have or how you handle stuff.
Yeah.
Could that be part of it? I mean, but is that also kind of like a psychological thing? Like you're attacking a certain era of people and how they have to handle stuff?
I mean, everybody attacks every era these days.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
because there's you keep on saying you grew up soft, right?
Yeah.
You grew up soft. You're like, oh, back in my days, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that, like, okay, to throw it out there, generationally, or, you know, we've got the Gen X group, which was born a little tougher, raised a little tougher, and then you've got your millennials. And who are the parents of these millennials?
Yeah.
The Gen X, right? And the Gen Zs. These are the parents of the millennials. And is that right? Do I have okay, I might have it wrong, but you know, I hope you guys understand the gist of it.
Anyone can be part of a millennial, you know. I mean, Gen X, you know, definitely that was that.
Yeah. So
70s,
like
80s
our kids
to
would be
90s.
considered millennials, right? I think our kids are
maybe your oldest.
the oldest one. So, you know, they're softer. Like maybe you and your ex weren't that soft on her, but the average kid her age is pretty soft. Like she's told us about stories of people who her age who have committed suicide because, life sucked. And we've heard other
you're talking
people.
about the eldest one.
Yeah. Isn't she considered a millennial?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying that the parents of the millennials, maybe at some point were like, our parents were too tough on us, so we're going to be softer on our kids. And that's now created a group of softer individuals.
Yeah, but
we're going back to the passive aggressive bullying versus physical bullying.
Right, and like you said, that when she was going through that, right? I remember she came to us and talked about some friends that had committed suicide, right? Which were male boys,
male.
and they were at a certain age, also, like pretty much
they're
still
young
kids,
yeah,
still 18, maybe 19, still teens, right?
Yeah.
So there could be something about that age group that's just kind of like they don't know how to handle it, how to think, how to feel. They just giving up all hope.
But there's a lot of that lately.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that lately, and then that goes into confusion of children, especially males.
Well, yeah, it's a fucked up time we're living in, because then if you do, if you believe your old ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
A man should keep it inside and should be strong and not show feelings and emotion and anger and just keep it all inside and fill up the cup and explode when you do, or cry in the shower when nobody sees you. Like, don't let them see you be weak, right? Because it's considered a weakness. And then at the same time, they're judging you because they're telling you, like, no, you're being such a machista, or you're so old school. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to, not talk down about people or put down females, or, and then this
Excuse this meowing sound if you guys hear it. Our cat is meowing at the door trying to be let in.
Kind of saying that, like, you're damn if you think a certain way, you act a certain way. If you don't cater to the current times, you get shunned on. If you're not accepting of what society expects you to do, but then there's a moral compass of what you believe or how you were raised to do things or how you should act as a man. And, it's just, it always feels like you can't be yourself. Even us during the podcast, like, there's so many things that we don't want to talk about because we're afraid. We're not afraid, but we kind of like don't want to show our point of view on certain things because we might alienate a certain group of people or parents, of like, I can't believe they said that, or I can't believe they went there, or I can't believe they believe that, I know them, they pretend like if you feel that you can't trust your friends or family and be yourself and express yourself without being persecuted or judged or put down, then that sucks, right? And that helps with the mental.
But it works both ways. Like, I'm sure there's people in our circle that, we know for a fact there's people in our circle who don't think like we do. And an unfortunate reality these days is that there's these things, it's like either political, it's all political in one way or another. That it just...
There used to be a time when people could be friends and have different points of view.
Yeah.
Right? And there was no problem.
We're not in those times anymore.
Those days are done.
Yeah,
you can't. You can't.
Except for sports, right? Sports have always been an issue.
Not even in sports. Like, definitely not in hockey. I'll tell you that much. But you know what I mean? Like, nowadays, you're gonna vote for that person. That's it. I want you out of my life. I can't believe you're that. But before, people voted for people in opposite parties and they didn't care. They married each other, and they made it work for years.
Yeah.
Now you can't even be friends with people that have a different point of view than you.
Yeah.
Right. And then at the same time,
if you don't support a certain group of people.
Oh yeah, you don't want to be part of the lettuce, bacon, tomato, avocado, whatever group. Like, how dare you? Like, it's like, no, it's not that. Like, okay, I'm okay with let's say
the L's and the G's.
Yeah, the L's and the G's. I'm fine with that. Yeah. Like that, I understand it. But the other things, everything else,
that just goes back to mental health.
I agree, right? And right now people are like, oh shit, I can't believe they just went there, right? No, it's like, hey, I have family members.
This is our opinion.
Yeah, I have nephews. I have family members that are gay or a lesbian, and that's fine. If that makes them happy, that's how they are. Then by all means, I don't not talk to them. I don't cut them out of my life.
One of my best friends in high school was a gay young man.
Yeah. But once you start trying to get all weird and confusing and whatever now, it's like, dude, there's no point for it, you know?
And we've known or heard, we've heard of and or known gay and lesbian couples who are in disagreement with the confusion of others. It's like, I'm a man.
My whole problem with that is that they're trying to force it and like shove it down your throat. And if you're not accepting of it, then don't do it. But then it bothers me when they do their fucking argument about like, yeah, let the children choose. I mean, if he's a 3-year-old and he feels that, a 3-year-old boy that feels that he should be a girl, then let him go through all this stuff to change it. But yet that kid can't have a beer, can't go get a tattoo, can't do none of that. And it's like, so how is he not mature enough to make those choices, but he's mature enough to do the other choice?
Yeah.
That's mental health.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you fucking stupid for thinking like that.
That's
Like,
mental health issue on an adult.
Yeah. When I was fucking 5 years old, I wanted to be freaking He-Man.
Yeah, but your parents didn't go put you in the gym and make you work out 20 hours a day,
right?
To build your muscles, right?
Or Lionel, they didn't convert me into a freaking cat and give me, dye my hair red and let it grow out.
Yeah, and paint stripes on you.
Yeah, I wanted to get tattoos when I was like 7 or 8. If they would have let me, tattoo myself at that age, like what would I be stuck with? Like the cat in the hat on my arms,
Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, Marvin the Martian and Tasmanian. I mean, those are pretty cool still. I think I'll be all right with those, but.
And how stretched out would they be now?
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't that on That's My Boy, that Adam Sandler lets his son get a tattoo of New Kids on the Block on his back, and the like foreheads are all huge.
I don't remember that.
It's hilarious. It's like, who lets a little kid do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's just one of those things. So who's more on the mental health? A freaking parent that allowed that to happen?
Parents, yeah, the adults. Ultimately, the mental health issue comes down to the adults. And I've known family. I actually know a family that their child is one of these children at the age of 8, a little girl. And they allowed this child to start transitioning at the age of 8. And the father was completely demasculated in this household. Like, he had no opinion. And unfortunately, because of...
But see, if we go again, like, it just shows again how what men matter, right?
Yeah.
Like, the guy's point of view doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like you said, he is being demasculated.
Yeah.
Right?
And the thing is, I don't know what's happened to this family since all this started a couple years ago, because we lost touch because of the difference in opinion. And I try to be supportive to a point, but there's just some things I can't be a friend about. This ex-friend of mine, we actually had a discussion one day at a coffee shop, and she vented about her feelings and what she was going through. And I came up with something for her to research before moving forward with all these things. And I guess I just didn't fit into that bucket of support that she wanted.
Right.
So we just stopped
And that's
talking.
another thing, right? So it's like, oh, well, if you don't see things my way, see you.
Yeah, because she had a group of other people who were more on we're going to celebrate this with you and support your child through this decision at the age of 8. And I was not one of those friends that could be there for that, because I don't agree that an 8-year-old child should be making that type of decision.
Yeah, but you were still being a friend. You reached out. You tried to get him into contact.
Yes,
but you were cut off.
Yeah, I was
you got
ultimately for trying to be the other friend. And unfortunately, that's the world we live in. That's the end of it. So I don't know what's happened with that family since then to be able to say, this or that. But I am aware of families that go through this, and they find, and I think this is with everybody, and unfortunately this is a mental health issue of the child for feeling the way they do, because they did voice this.
And that could be...
And what happened to that child for them to feel this way? Something happened to this child that maybe the parents aren't aware of that made this child feel this way. So again, part of the demasculization of the father, who couldn't put his foot down and say no. And
if he did, I'm pretty sure he ended up in a divorce,
possibly,
or, losing rights to the child,
possibly.
And to the family.
I know that.
See? So again, so it sucks for a man. So he was like, kind of like, do I stick through this? Do I just, because I don't want to lose my family, but it's against everything that I believe in. I
know they had a young man, a son who is the same age as our eldest, and that that young man is a different father. That young man went through a big change. Like, he just rebelled. You know, he
Well, I mean,
went through this whole dyeing his hair phase and rebelling and not going to school, and he just drugs and all this stuff at a very young age because he hated what was going on in his household. And I guess when he would spend time with his biological father, of course, that father was very like, that's wrong. Like,
yeah,
there's
that's where I was
wrong.
going. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like, he had his own father, so you imagine all the shit talking he had to hear from the other side.
Yeah,
you know, and then he's like, and then the criticizing of the mom.
Yeah,
and then I think, and the dad.
I think eventually they put him on meds.
Yeah, and the dad too.
Him.
You know, here's the dad that's like, man, they're all fucked up. Why would they let that happen? Your mom's so stupid. This is why I'm not with her no more.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's probably a lot of stuff that the dad said that the kid it made it harder for him too.
And that's all part of mental health.
And not to mention that all the attention went to this other child now, and there was nothing there for him, right? Like,
and there's one more sibling. So yeah, I don't know whatever happened to that other child. They really didn't talk about that child much, but you know, it was sad for me to see, you know, this young man that was a friend of our son go through this, because he was such a nice kid, you know, and to see him change as much as he did. And then, you know, to lose that friendship with someone because they didn't like what you were saying. So, or didn't like the type of support you were willing to give. It sucked. So, but again, this is all part of that mental health, not just on the father, but on the children and on the mother, you know, and I'm sure there's so many families going through this mental health stuff. Like, who knows what all of their lives were like growing up that's causing this. Am I going to call it weakness? Just this inability to understand truth. The truth of your child is too young to make these decisions.
Right.
So
the thing that
let them get through puberty and see if they change their mind.
The shit that gets me confused is like, do you not remember being that age?
Yeah.
And how you felt or how you thought at that age? Like I don't know. I mean,
for some kids, it's definitely worse than others. Again, you had a horrible childhood, and I don't think at any point you ever.
Think so. I mean, it molded me into a
not
person
horrible.
I am. But.
Okay, but compared to me, you had a very hard childhood. You had a very difficult childhood,
right.
compared to me. And at no point did you decide that you were somebody else, that you were in the wrong body, or that, you know, you weren't supposed to be who you are. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? At least at that age, right? I didn't know you then, but from our conversations over the years, I've never heard you say that from the age of 7 till you were in high school that you ever thought that you were supposed to be in a different body, that you were so confused about who you were supposed to be, you know, that, and no way would your parents have ever supported any of those ideas either. But you yourself, as bad as your life was, never thought it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. I guess it kind of goes up with how I was brought up, right? Because I was told, like, be a man. Like, if you cry, like, then you're a little bitch. Yeah. You know, like, you want to cry? I'll give you a reason to cry, right? There was, like, comments like that that was mad. Like, something. What was that one thing that my dad always just says? Like, you're crying? Or, like, are you hurt? Are you in pain? Do you need to go to the hospital? Are you bleeding? Mm-hmm. Like, is there a bone sticking out? Mm-hmm. Then, no. All right, then shut up. Like, stop crying, right? Yeah. Like, be a man. Suck it up and drive on, right? Yeah. So it's one of those. But it's how we grew up, right? It's how it is. And it's how you take it. So I've made comments before where I know that I was a mama's boy, and I was a big, you know, I was a mama's boy. I was a crybaby for a while, you know. Mm-hmm. I was a big puss. I've said it before. And then my mom passed away, and I realized I had to grow up fast. I realized that, you know, nobody was there to pick me up and, you know, kiss my owies and, you know, make me breakfast and take care of me or baby me. So I had to grow up fast. I didn't have a childhood, and and I've said it before, and it offended my father when I said it, but I said it was a good thing it happened because it made me to the person that I am, you know. It made me not weak. It made me, I appreciated some of the tough love, and sometimes I hate it, but it made me
But
who
you
I
hate
am.
it because you wish your mom was here to meet your children.
Right, yeah,
and all stuff
yeah.
like
There's
that.
certain things that I wish, you know, would I love more love and affection? Yes, definitely. Who doesn't want love and affection, right?
That's why you're so needy now.
Because but I want something that I'll never get, I get it from my kids at times. They're loving, they're affectionate.
Good love and affection.
No. You know what I mean. It's like, but I didn't grow up to be a serial killer. I'm not out there killing a certain group.
You're not a drunk or a drug addict.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mental fortitude, right?
Yeah.
It's like I think that's part of the reason why I kind of like hearing some of those motivational speakers or those ex-military guys, that have gone out to,
Have been
have
through
that
it.
tough love, and they also had a shitty life, and they surpassed it, and there's some, they lived it, and I feel that in a way I'm kind of kindred spirit. It's kind of like how much do you embrace the suck and what you do with it and how you handle it, right?
Yeah.
Life is hard. Period.
Yeah.
Shit's gonna be hard. Nobody has a perfect life,
Yeah, that's true.
Some people have love and money, and they grow up, and they're all fucked up when they grow up because they had everything. There's people like me that didn't have shit, and they made themselves fine, but they're fine. But in another way, we were kind of fucked up in another way. I could have become, like you said, I could have been a druggie.
But that's
I could have
what
been a junkie.
your
I could have
family
been an
expected
alcoholic.
you.
Yeah, I could have been a criminal. I could have been gay, because that was a comment a lot. I was like, oh yeah,
And you have gay family members.
Yeah, I was like, what are you, a fag? Like, oh, what's the matter? I show love and affection and tell people I love them. Oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you being like that? Mm-hmm. But that's just kind of, you say, like, closure, right? Like, knowing, I know what I did and what I said. I put it out there. And if
you knew who you were and you were confident in who you were.
And I think that's a big turn off for a lot of people because they wish they could be like that, but they can't.
And that's part of, again, I think it all stems back to mental health. Anybody who studied psychology or reads anything about psychology, I'm not claiming to be a psychologist. I don't know it all. I don't know the names of all the theories and all that stuff. I just have read things and I've taken classes. So at the core of everybody's issues is mental health, whether you're a man or a woman, and it all usually starts in your childhood. So if you have the, like you said, the mental fortitude to get through life, and even though you may not have that support from your family, but you just maybe want to prove them wrong, you have that will to live and prove people wrong, that gets you through your day and that gets you through your life, versus people out there who may have been bullied their whole lives, and just don't have the mental fortitude to pull through.
Yeah, I mean, it's just how you deal with it and how you handle it and how you go about life.
Trying to bring it all back to bullying. Do you feel you were bullied? Yeah, well, I shouldn't
I
even
was
ask
bullied
you.
all the time. I mean, I was bullied at home. I was bullied at school. If I'm thinking about it now, I guess I can say that. But before, I didn't think about it that way. I just thought that was life. It's like being picked on. Oh, they're just picking on me.
Yeah,
it's how they show love.
Yeah, like what we were telling our boy, like, oh, that girl likes you. That's why she's being mean.
Right. Yeah. But and some people might get mad. It's like, no, that's not love. That's not how you treat somebody.
And it takes someone pointing it out.
Yeah.
To try, like, I think I've learned that as the years have gone on, as I've become older, and even caught myself in doing it. Like, if there's something on TV that now as adults we understand is inappropriate, and I've caught myself pointing it out that it's inappropriate, or, oh my God, don't look, or something like that. But then my kids are like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me that sometimes when we say that something is wrong for a certain age group, it's not really wrong because they don't understand. So, like, we're making them aware of something they don't need to be aware of yet. Like, their mind is not mentally prepared for that awareness. Mm-hmm. So by bringing that to their attention.
Yeah, kids are innocent. They don't know what's going on.
They're not supposed to know.
They go off what your reaction,
what
your
the
body
adults,
language.
Yeah, so... and going back to the bullying between different political and agendas and stuff like that, so you got a group of people who tell the other people that they're wrong for what they're doing, and then that group is just doing it right back. It's just a constant, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong. Bullying people for their religious beliefs versus bullying people for their gender beliefs. It feels like it's never gonna end.
Yeah,
you know,
I
because
think
it's just
more
tit for tat at this point.
It's just got to a point now where everybody wants to force it down everybody's fucking throats.
Yeah, whether it's religion being forced down people's throat or whether it's
I mean, come
my
on.
pride being forced down somebody's
it's June.
throat.
It's supposed to be Mental Health Awareness Month. By the way, green ribbon.
Green ribbon.
But it went away. It went away, and now it's fucking Rainbow Month.
Yeah, Rainbow Month.
Right? And it was like, okay, so what happened to mental health? Like, are we
Well,
just ignoring it?
I'm
Everybody's
looking
like,
at it like it's still part of mental health.
well, yeah, it is.
Because
It is
in
part of
my
mental
head,
health,
it's
right?
still part of mental health.
Yeah, but see, they're not forcing. Nobody's talking about the mental health. Nobody. It's getting alienated. It's
Yeah.
like let's celebrate all this. Let's
Didn't
force
they
this.
also add-
Every fucking network that I turn on and I'm trying to watch something with my kids has something about the whole rainbow shit, and it's just like, okay, now you're forcing it on my kids' fucking throat. Like you're
it's
forcing
on
that
their
down
on the
Yeah,
channels
you're
that are
just
supposed to be kid
putting
friendly.
it full blast, yeah. And now, like every commercial, everything, like everywhere you go, and they're hiding it in cartoons, and they're hiding it, like they're trying to program it, trying to make it seem like, oh yeah, it's fine, this is fine, this is fine. It's like you're teaching them from now. Like you're trying to take that away from us, from parents, but of course you're gonna say no. That you're wrong. You're just trying to keep them heterosexual because that's your belief. That's your way of
and that
seeing
goes
things.
back to what I was saying about how parents point out what's wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So we as parents instill in our children right from wrong. And so when there's those things on the TV and the kids are like, oh, I want to watch this show. And we're like, no, we got to screen it. And then we screen it and there's something in it that we don't agree with. Mm-hmm. And so we tell the kids, no, there's something inappropriate in that cartoon that I don't need you to watch.
Yeah, because they're trying to keep our kids innocent. Like that, their age group. That's shit that they shouldn't be watching or be exposed to yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and again, that's our opinion.
It's no different than when our parents were mad at us if they ever found out we watched porn.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, no, you're not supposed to be watching it. Because what does it do? It puts a fake mental
It puts an
thing,
idea in your
an
head.
idea in your head of what it's supposed to be like, what it's supposed to sound like, how you're supposed to treat them, what you know. So you're getting programmed to this, and they're like, no, and it's been proven, it desensitizes you.
Yeah.
Right? So
That's with everything. I think everything in the end, all the movies and cartoons, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
The more you expose them to this idea, they get desensitized.
yeah, but
and
they're
just
putting,
accept it.
but now they're putting this whole rainbow porn on books for children.
Yeah.
Like, come on. If it wasn't cool when it was
If it's not okay for heterosexual couples, why is it okay for homosexual couples? Yeah.
like that, what?
It doesn't change
What
it.
the
And
hell?
or confused couples too.
Yeah.
Because all part of mental health. So like for you to say, yeah, we've gotten away from this whole men's mental health thing. I group it all together, but you're right. There's no emphasis on the men's mental health portion of it. And it's also Juneteenth, right?
Oh yeah,
That was the other thing that was added before this other celebration.
Right, so
and
it took away
that got
from the-
completely taken away.
Memorial Day. I mean, we have people that died for the country to give us all our freedoms and our rights, right? Those freedoms
They
that
get
you're
one day.
enjoying, but we get one day. Like, no, maybe those veterans should get the whole freaking month.
They should get the whole
and
month
then
of
you
May.
probably should be one day,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, see, there you go. Oh, how dare I say that? What the fuck's wrong with me for saying that? Well,
Yeah.
what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, were you saying the veterans don't matter? Like, you know, all these people that sacrifice their lives don't matter? Like, you know, they are the ones that gave us the freedoms, right? Or
Yeah.
to live
There's
what
a
we have.
reason you have your parades.
I really censor myself a lot. Give me your point of view. Educate me. You know, don't belittle me. It's one of my favorite things to say, right? I was like, don't belittle me, educate me, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, teach me your point of view. But, you know, I try to listen to it. And to me, like you said, it just sounds like mental health. It sounds like a lot of confusion going on. Like I said, I have no problem with if you're gay or you're lesbian. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But when you're trying to, you know, I'm a freaking horse and I'm a fucking lion, or, you know, I'm
a boy trapped in a girl's body.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
Why do you have to
fucking doesn't
change
make
your
sense.
body?
Right. Yeah. It's just making it more confusing. Right?
Again, back to the whole mental health. It's just mental health. It's all it comes down to. And there might be people out there who don't agree, but there's a lot of studies out there that prove
and I guess this
that
is
it
when,
is.
Yeah, and I guess this
so
is
do
when
your research.
you get the discussion of those people that say that Thanos was right. You know?
Oh, Thanos, yeah. The thing is, Thanos, I mean, he destroyed half of everybody, irregardless of who they were.
Right.
So, I mean, that is definitely non-biased, and I guess the proper way to do it.
Yeah,
There's no bias.
but see, here we go. Like again, like changing it and saying, that cater to my beliefs and what I see, and if you don't, you're a racist or a bigot or a Trumper or whatever the hell you want to call it, right? And then next thing you know, everything's getting censored. And I'm surprised religion hasn't been censored, and I'm surprised science hasn't been, shot on. Because then, there's always that argument when you have a skeleton in the future. So some scientist finds and the skeleton is like, this is a male. And then what? Everybody's going to be upset. Like, oh no, how dare you assume their gender? How do you know that they weren't a gay man or a transgender?
Well, they'll still be able to tell.
Science tells you what the difference between a male and a female.
Yeah, based on your bone structure,
right?
Archaeologically
and your reproductive
speaking.
organs.
Well, no, if all that's left is a skeleton, archeologically, there's
but the pelvic bone is different.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Organs, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when all you are bones, the scientific world is going to say this was a male or a female.
Yeah, so
they're not going to care about anything.
So
else.
now they have this special that's going to come out about the animal kingdom, about gay animals.
That's the stupidest shit in the world.
I just saw the commercial for it, and I kind of had heard about it, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
You told me
really?
about something else too, and I was just like, "Oh my god."
It's funny because they want to attack stuff from our childhood, things that are innocent, there's nothing to do with it, right?
Yeah.
I think you're talking about the Star Wars thing.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. We were trying to.
So
tell
now
me.
they're trying to say that C-3PO and R2 are gay.
Yeah,
and they're a gay couple, and they were always together, and they were there for each other, and they argued and whatever that. And I was like, we're talking about robots.
Two robots.
They seriously don't have they couldn't have a gender. They're robots.
I mean, we've assigned a gender to them because of the way they talk.
Well, and the way that they were built.
And the way they were built.
That they have who's to say that R2's not a girl? We don't know that.
We don't know what R2 is.
Well, we don't know.
Everyone just assumes he's a boy.
Yeah, it's like this little dumb vacuum cleaner guy.
Yeah.
Or girl.
And C-3PO, we say he's a boy because of his voice, because there are other C3 units that we've seen that look similar, but they have feminine voices.
Yeah.
So, again.
And they seem to have breast, like a plate that kind of gives them a resemblance.
I think you're right.
Breast.
Yeah, to make the shape a little different.
Okay, so then let's say that I'm a pro-woman She-Ra sisterhood, traveling pants, whatever. Right? How I can argue that R2 is a girl because it was smart. It was
smarter than C-3PO.
Never got lost. Always asked for directions. Right?
That's a good point.
Knew what they were doing.
R2's a girl because he's smarter.
Right? If I was like that, right? I can make that argument.
Yeah.
Well, C-3PO is always lost and confused and arguing and thinks he knows more, but in reality he's lost his shit or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's a typical male. Yeah. Dumb guy, right?
That's hilarious.
And
I love it.
R2 is technically could have been a chick. Why? Because it's white and blue. Automatically, those are male colors. Yeah, no, it could have been a chick. Could have been a girl. Could have been a girl robot. If you want to take it to that point.
Yeah.
So they are a married couple.
I love your opinion on that.
Yeah. I mean, right? It's how you see shit.
Yeah.
But don't try to take my goddamn Star Wars and try to make it into this whole new movement, trying to make them gay. It's like, no, they're robots. They're robots. And just leave it like that.
Yes. It's like the whole Luca thing, that cartoon Luca.
Oh my goodness.
You made a good point to me the other day when we were talking about this, and I was mad about, you had brought up this whole, Star Wars thing or C-3PO and R2-D2 thing, and then I said, about Luca. And your point was that clearly people who are trying to make the association that the kids in Luca are gay never had buddy friends.
Dude, they're fucking little kids.
Yeah.
And they're sea monster kids on top of it.
Yeah.
And one's abandoned, doesn't have a family, and the other one had protected parents, right? Yeah. And had a grandma and
he has a crush on a girl.
Yeah. The girl made him want to go to land.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Splash. It reminds me of Splash. Or Little Mermaid.
Or Little Mermaid, yeah.
Right? And there's two kids that just become friends, hang out, have a good time. Yeah. Obviously, if anybody thought about that, it's a beautiful, romantic, gay couple. It's like, no, you obviously never had a childhood friend or a bro that you care for and love. Like, they didn't have to make you gay.
Yeah.
Like, why is your mind so dirty that you have to go there?
Automatically go there. Yeah.
What kind of mental issue do you have?
Mm-hmm. A lot of abuse, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, but it is, there is a lot of it out there. And
Let's say up. So now the old man is living his life.
Someone try to say that he's like a pedophile or something?
Right, because an old man's friends with a kid.
With a
and
kid.
The kid doesn't have a male role model in his life. There's an older man who never had children, is lost his wife. He's by
And
himself.
they wanted
He has a
children,
daughter.
right?
Yeah. He's there for the kid. He's learning. He's giving him a reason to live. He feels like a grandpa. He gets to be a grandpa to this kid.
Yeah.
He's become the male role model that this kid's missing.
Yeah.
And somebody wants to tarnish it by saying something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always somebody out there who's got to ruin the innocence of things these days. And it's, again, what mental health issues does that person have that they have to ruin it for the children? Really, they have to ruin it for the children, and
no, for the parents of the children too.
And for the parents of the
because
children
the parents,
too.
Next time they're gonna be watching this with their kid, they're gonna think about that, and they're gonna be upset. They're like, "Can you believe that? Can you believe that some dumbass said this?"
Yeah.
And then the kids hear it.
Yeah.
And so now you put it on the kid's mind.
Yeah.
And they're
again,
gonna
that
remember
goes
it.
back to the whole what we say and what we believe and what we teach our kids.
Yeah.
Okay. And our commentary really comes back to the bullying, the mental health issues of children who are these young people who are confused, right? The gay couples, the lesbian couples, the heterosexual couples, those are, I think, a different level than the kids who are transitioning, or the people who don't know what they are and want to be an animal, or who decide that they have no gender. I think all that falls more into mental health.
Yeah, because there's
and things that were maybe caused by bullying or some type of trauma in youth than the other things. I mean, yes, there's stuff that happens in all the other couples, but originally we're talking about bullying and
right.
I know we're kind of going all over the place with this and trying to link it all back together.
You know what's funny? As you were talking and I've been talking, I just started thinking, I was like, I'm pretty sure that this episode might not even make it, and if it makes it, it's going to be put down. Like, it's going to be taken down by one of those people that go through.
I mean, not enough people listen to us for me to worry.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Maybe this one will get some people to listen to us and be like, "What a bunch of assholes!" Or they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're talking out of their ass. Or
again, educate us. Like, jump on Instagram, jump on Facebook, and educate us on your point of view on this, because it's not a matter of being ignorant. Again, we have no issue with homosexual couples. Like, we have friends and family that are homosexuals, and they are some wonderful people, and they have wonderful children and whatnot. Not really speaking to that group or about that group, even though it might seem like we are from our general conversation. The conversation is really more about bullying and the mental health issues of bullying as you get older and what type of adult you become. Yeah. Based on that bullying.
So on that note, right? So if all this stuff, right, that we just talked about, make people jump up and speak up and argue and get physical and angry or whatever, not like. So then, what's the difference between this and your child getting bullied? Like, if your child gets bullied, have you jumped up? Have you defended? What were your action
it's like
stories
homosexual couples who have kids. There was a time where if the other kids found out you had two moms or two dads, there was definitely bullying happening because of that. And, that's going to make you think a certain way as you get older, and the type of person that molds you into being if you decide not to give up on life and if you even make it that far. So if you are a parent, if you're a same-sex couple whose kids have been bullied because of that, how have you dealt with that? How have you handled, do you feel the school system is supportive? Because I mean, me as a heterosexual couple, if my kid gets bullied about anything, I really don't feel the school system, especially in California, is very supportive, just because of the legalities of so many things. But maybe it's different for a same-sex couple. Maybe they have more rights. Maybe the schools are a little more present for them than they are for the heterosexual couples. And that's not right if that's true.
But it does feel like that sometimes, right?
It does feel like that sometimes.
Especially, like, let's say for our son.
Yeah.
If our son has been, like, like we said before, he was getting bullied. He's being put down, and some of them were girls. But he's like, "Oh, I can't touch a girl. I can't do nothing. It's a girl."
But one of them was a boy, and he's allegedly
A gay boy.
a gay young man who's bullying our son.
Right. So then he's like, if I touch him, if I do anything, like now I'm getting judged for, I did it because he's gay.
Yeah, exactly.
I beat him up because he's gay. I don't want people to say that. And then if I hit this girl, it's like, but she's the one.
Sexist.
Yeah, now I'm sexist. So like, damn if I do, damn if I don't. And then the school is kind of like, oh, but that's a gay boy. Oh, and this is a girl and he's a boy. Oh, well,
Yeah.
he started it. So maybe we just look the other way because they're worried about a fucking lawsuit?
Yeah, I am pretty sure that's what it comes down to.
But then I can turn it around too and make it a lawsuit. It's like, hey, my son's being attacked and you guys are not doing shit because of this.
Yeah, but I mean,
See what I mean?
We're in California.
That's a weird scale, though. That's like.
But that's the reality of where we live.
Yeah,
so I'm sure if we lived in a
sucks.
different state, it would be different.
Freaking sucks, man. It sucks.
Your kids can't defend themselves because they have to tiptoe around the legality, and we as parents have to tiptoe around the legality of the system.
What do I got to do? Play like a race card? Oh, because he has a Hispanic last name.
Because he has long hair.
Yeah, because he has long black. Oh, like hair. Oh yeah, he has long hair. So
he's Native American, and you guys are going to
right. Oh, how can he be? His skin's too white.
Your white kids are discriminating against our Native American blood.
Oh, well, they're Hispanic too. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So then
they're not.
Yeah,
so it's fine. But I mean, it's stupid. It's just all really stupid, and it affects the mental health of our kids, right? Because you've got this group of kids who are bullying kids that can't do anything to them, and it's like I feel like these kids know that they're untouchable because of the way the world is right now, so they feel empowered to bully the kids that wouldn't have been bullying them in the first place, or maybe they were bullied that someone that looked like our kid, I don't know, and now they feel like they got to take it out on our kid even though our kid is not the bully. It's stupid. It's just dumb, and I just hope this next year of school goes way better. I mean, it was fine, but I just would really love to not hear about bullying anymore from our kid.
I just wish my kid would just handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that too. It's just, I always worry because I think I've listened to too many murder mysteries. I worry about, those shooter kids, that you don't know about their mental health, and then just out of nowhere they snap. And who's to say that because of whatever mental health issues those other kids are having, that one of them won't come and try to hurt our son or hurt other kids.
Or what's to say that our son doesn't have enough and he becomes that kid.
Right. That's right. And we don't even know about it. Like, we're thinking that he's perfectly fine because he's telling us he's fine. And then he's the one who snaps.
Right. Yeah, because
and we're blindsided.
The school's not helping him.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing anything to his aid. So he's like, fuck, enough.
And I'm sure there's parents out there who'd be like, well, just pull him out of the school.
Can I believe I just said that?
Well, not just that, but they'd be just pull your kid out of the school. I said
something that probably somebody listening to this was thinking it. Oh, what if it's your kid? Well, guess what?
Right.
Yeah, no, I said it.
Right, if it's our kid. It could be.
I said it.
You're right. It's perfectly... It's happened, right? That quiet kid is they say the quiet ones are the ones you have to look out for. Mm-hmm. So they're
the more fucked up ones, right? That's usually
what they say.
Their mind is just
because you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what the quiet ones are thinking. So what?
I just got like a little nice smell or something.
Oh yeah, I put something in the vents
to
make the house smell nice. So, anyways. Not trying to get dark on this subject.
We went from bullying to mental health to
back to bullying and
to everything. We're just jumping all over the place.
It's
a weird topic. It's a weird topic.
It's not a weird
iffy
topic. It's a tough topic to discuss because there's so many facets to it, and there's so much going on in this world that has to do with mental health, and it being Mental Health Month, especially for men.
Yeah, I really think we didn't touch mental health. I think we're talking about like a section of it, but like we're not talking about the main, which is mental.
Yeah, well, I think the whole point is discussing how the mental health of youth leads into the mental health of an adult. So these young men and the things that these young men are going through in these younger years, what type of men are they going to become? What is their health going to be like as adults? And I mean, we see the ramifications of this now with the adults that exist currently and the mental health issues that these people have. It's apparent that there is something that went completely wrong with their raising, you know, in the last decade to 20 years, that we've got this group of people that are utterly confused about life as adults and are trying to make our youth just as confused as they are. So what went wrong? What did we as a society do wrong? You know, one can argue that it's because we became too lax as parents and let our kids get away with whatever, babied them, trophies for everything, you know, and or maybe there's more abuse out there than we realize. And right, and we've said this. We said
and
this.
At the same time, we're making them softer too. If we keep on trying to shelter them and protect them,
that's true. Like this whole idea of I'm just going to pull our son and homeschool him. Am I really doing him a service by doing that?
Right. I mean, maybe educational wise, they'll learn more. They'll have more knowledge.
He won't know how to deal with society. Yeah, his social skills. That's what happened with COVID, right? Yeah. All these kids that were shut down through COVID. These are the kids who are having a lot of these emotional issues and these psychological issues. What happened in their houses? What traumas did they experience having both their parents home, being locked up without their friends?
Well, a lot of them lost their parents too.
Yeah, because a lot of parents got divorced after COVID or during COVID because they realized they couldn't stand each other, right? And what did these kids who maybe were once happy homes
got to see their parents argue and fight and some freaking slapping and going
these
around.
Are the kids our kids are going to school with now. And in talking to teachers, I have friends who are teachers, and they've all told me that it's a mess. Like being an educator to these children who were locked up during COVID, it's hard. They're a mess. These kids have they don't understand how to properly get attention from people. They're all over the place. So like there's a lot of mental health stuff that happened during this lockdown time. And, you know, that's a whole different subject we can go into, but it all trickles, you know, it's our kids are dealing with those kids. They were part of those kids. The difference is we didn't try to kill each other during that time.
No, because I still worked.
We actually both still worked. So maybe that was the saving grace, is that we both still had our jobs during that time. Gratefully, we were lucky in that sense that we were able to keep our jobs and we didn't have to withstand each other.
We were essential workers.
Yes. So it's an unfortunate reality for a lot of families that I even heard about murders, like couples that killed each other because of this. Or even killed their parents because they couldn't stand having their parents around either. So it was very dark times. And these children that are now very confused about life are coming out of that situation. So anyways, shouldn't have gone dark.
Can of worms.
I know. It's a can of worms. And I want to go there, but I know we're out of time for today. And, you know, thank you guys if you listened this far. We appreciate your time. We know this is a tough subject. We're not trying
to alienate you if you're offended by this, to be honest. It's just our point of view.
It's our point of view. It's our opinion. It's what we're feeling and what we're seeing with our own children and our expectation of this world for them. You know, I don't expect them to not be friends with any homosexual kids in life. You know,
they are friends with
kids. They do have some friends. You know, they know kids, you know, who are like this. And like I said, we have family members and friends who have been, you know, in our lives in the past, and it's just there's a lot of confusion in the world, and hopefully the aliens will show up and just wipe us all out so we don't have to deal with it anymore. But no nuclear wars, because we've been watching some scary stuff lately.
We just watched Oppenheimer.
I know, we just watched Oppenheimer. So
finally.
Just no nuclear war.
And then Fallout.
I know. Okay, well, again, thank you for your time. You guys have
a good one. Be safe out there. Stay strong. Once again, reach out. Let us know what you think. Feel free to send us an Instagram or X message / Twitter, whatever you guys still call it. Reach out on our email on our website through, you know, Buzzsprout until they sleep.
Facebook. Our email address is untiltheysleep@gmail.com.
And if you need any help or anything, just remember there's always somebody there to reach out and help.
Seek mental health. If you feel depressed or anything, there's lots of mental health numbers out there for you. All right. Well, have a good night, people.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.